and we're going to Spoto High School. We're going to bring in the head coach at Spoto High School. This is Coach Keith Chattin, and if you know anything about Keith Chattin, number one, he knows his football. Number two, he is a firecracker. He is going to bring it all the time. All right, he's one of the best guests that you could have on any podcast. So anybody in the podcasters out there, if you want some good content, you go to Coach Chattin. Coach Chattin, welcome.
What's up? That's an ugly hat you got on, man.
Hey, roll tide.
Come on, man. Where's your homers at? Look in the back of your jersey on the wall, man.
I got plenty of them. Where every show I'll mix it up. Now listen, Coach. We were watching. You told me about a couple of your kids last year. You're like, yo,
right.
I got a couple dudes. We're putting together some things here at Spoto. Watch out for us.
Right.
Derek's been cutting film, and he spotted out the same guys. So I just want you to kind of educate us on some of your big timers you got roaming the hallways over there at Spoto.
Well, I think everybody knows who Jesse is by now. Jesse, he's 6'2", 6'3", 180. He's just electric. He's a playmaker. Everybody laughs when I say this. I think I even told you this. He's going to be better than Deontay if he allows himself to be. The only difference in him and Deontay, Jesse's taller, of course, but Deontay has that quick twitch and the faster feet than Jesse has. But other than that, Jesse has the ball skills. He attacks the ball. He's great lengthwise. His route running's pretty good. He's got to get a little bit better than that. He's got to crisp that up a little bit. He's got to understand coverage a little bit better, but his hands are outstanding. And when he gets in between the white lines, he really locks in and plays good, solid football. And plus, he's an underrated blocker as well when I put him in tight end and stuff like that. And then Zeke, he was my running back last year. He got banged up a little bit because, I ran him like 200 carries last year. So he's not a big guy. He's 5'8", by 165, 170 at best. He's a 4'4", 4'5" guy. Great grades, but just a great football player in space. He's really hard to deal with in space. So he's kick return, punt return, running back, quarterback, slot, X, whatever I need him to go to. And then now just crashing on the scene. I had him last year for the last 3 games of the season, but Nathan Richardson, my quarterback, he's done some good things. He's averaged about 175 in his 4 starts, but Saturday night, he was 20 of 29 for 354 and 5 touchdowns. And my man just put us on his back and tried his best to bring us back, and almost did. We had a couple drops in the end zone for touchdowns. We missed a wide open guy on the second drive of the game. Jesse ran a seam, and Jesse said the sun was in his eyes, so he couldn't see the ball, but, whatever that is. But, we should have scored 2 or 3 more touchdowns. But, we got a lot of things going on at Spoto, and it's definitely changed in the 18 months I've been here. And people aren't used to seeing this kind of, I guess fireworks is a good word for it, or offense efficiency downfield. But, it's going to be an exciting couple years over here.
Yeah, back in the spring when you sent me that spring game, was that Jesse's first play that he wheeled it up the sideline and went for?
That was the first play of his high school career.
Man, and
yeah, then I'm not trying to be that guy, but like halfway through spring, when I put him at tight end, I said, "This is gonna be the first play of the spring game."
Yep.
And he's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you a shot to make a play the first play of the spring game." And hey, he took it 75, 78 yards to the house.
Yeah, Preston, if you feature that video, it's a second play on the highlight, and
Right.
Or I could pull it up if you want me to, and you'll see the play. It was a first play that he was on the field, not the first catch.
Right.
The first play that kid stepped on a field, and he did that, and it's like, wow, that's what it's supposed to look like. And then in this past game, he made one of his touchdowns is about a 20-yard pass, and he went up for it and had to twist around a little bit, but he landed on his feet. And as soon as he landed on his feet, he was off to the races. And his ability to kind of contort in the air and do things, he plays a high spot really well. It really jumps out on film, and it's going to be fun watching him and the quarterback for 2 more years at Spoto High School. It's going to be fun to see.
Nate, the ball you're talking about, Nate threw it behind him a little bit. He had to adjust to it in air.
Yep.
I think it would have been a walk-in touchdown if Nate would have hit him in stride, but he threw it behind him a little bit. Jesse had to jump up, and he sort of put his arms almost behind his back a little bit to catch it. And then he come down, and then he did the rest. He's so athletic. He makes it look easy, but he works really hard.
Yeah. No, it was a great display of athleticism, I thought, on that one play. I mean, he did stuff like that all game. Playing the high point. He almost had that one catch in the end zone where he kind of came down and just fell right on his back. I thought he may have had it, but yeah, just he does some athletic things in the air, and he's got really good ball skills. And yeah, he's gonna be a fun one to watch, no doubt.
Yeah, he's a high level recruit, no doubt about it.
Yep. Good.
Now, Coach, you've coached in a couple different places. Went across the state line, I believe, if I'm correct.
Right.
And came back. You started at Leonard here, at least for us in the county. What have you seen change? What have you seen change since you were at Leonard, your departure, and now your return back to Hillsborough County? What things have you seen change as far as football, and or the county and or the state, if you will?
So I coached at like 3 of the dominant programs in Georgia, and plus the one I played at. And then I got my first head job was Leonard, of course. And you know what kind of program that was when I took over. It was almost on death's door pretty much. And then, and I told some people back then, I said, we're going to do some things here. They didn't believe me, of course. But, in 2 years, we took an 0-10 team to 8-2 and had some really good football players down there and really changed the culture of that program. I think that word is overused a little bit, but, and then after I left, I went back home for a year. I just didn't like it. It was Georgia football had changed to me, and the people have changed a little bit. So then I went to West Palm, and that was the biggest mistake in my career. It was almost career suicide because I was told a whole bunch of different things by the admin down there, and nothing ever came to fruition. And then I flirted with Spoto about 3 times. One of them when I was still at Lynn. I think it was 2015 when they made a change. I was talking to them and it wasn't a good fit then. And then another time I just wasn't available. And this time they called. It was almost mutual because I saw her on Football Scoop. And my wife said, "Oh, you're going to call about that, aren't you?" And then when I was calling about it, they were calling me about it. And so it was sort of like mutual. And then I come up and saw them and stuff like that because they've always had athletes. Mm-hmm. That's not been the problem at Spoto. They've always had athletes. Even when we played them when I was at Leonard, they always had really fast, athletic people. It was just, can you get linemen in there? And can you keep those kids at Spoto that's supposed to be at Spoto? Because if we look at everybody's roster, all the good teams in Hillsborough County probably had 2 or 3 Spoto kids on their roster. So if we can keep those kids here, sky's the limit at Spoto.
Right.
So as you going back to, you talking about the changes of the county, I didn't think I'd ever come back. Because, in Georgia, the money's different. In West Palm, it's not centralized funding. So you get the gate, you get parking, you get concession stands. So it's fundraising. You don't have to really fundraise down there, and you get, you make a lot of money to do everything you need to. Here, centralized funding, I like it to an extent because you don't have to worry about all that extra stuff. Okay. And I like what Lannis does a lot. He really tries to, give us the best stuff, and then everybody's getting turf, everybody's getting the new lights and stuff like that. And, you still have the rotation uniforms and stuff like that. And I think other than Georgia, other than the main programs I've been at or played at, and then around the country, because I was at Gainesville for a year in North Florida, and then I was in West Palm and back to Tampa for my second stint. The football here brings me back because the football is better and the coaching is better than the other parts of the state.
Okay.
And that I want to challenge. I don't want to go in here and beat people 50-0 every single night. I want to, make sure that, what I'm doing is proving that I can build a program. I think we've already proved that at Leonard. I think we're proving it again that we've changed the culture and the perspective or perception of Spoto already. And then everybody knows, like you alluded to when I got on here, I don't mince a lot of words, and I'm very vocal and very bold. And then I believe in what we do and how we do it. And I know we're going to be good. I don't know when, but I know it's going to happen.
Your best Deontay Johnson story, Coach.
Oh my God. This is like my kid. Everybody that knows me well knows that, right here, I got his jersey over here, his helmet's over here, his gloves over here from Toledo. There's another jersey from his bowl game. Me and him, that's like my son. I don't have any kids of my own, but he's like my kid.
So Deontay graduated. When did Deontay graduate?
15.
All right. So for those who don't know, Deontay Johnson came out of Leonard. Derek, you cut his film.
Yes.
Nobody really gravitated towards Deontay Johnson.
Right.
Nobody was gravitating towards Leonard High School at the time. They were one of the newer schools, and nobody was looking down there. If I remember correctly, Deontay's junior year, he went slap off. I think it was his junior year.
Senior year.
It was a senior year?
Yeah.
There was a game he had against Blake in the rain. It was nasty. Had a great game against Blake. Derek sends me film on him It's like, yo, you got to take a look at this kid down at Leonard.
Yeah.
Fast forward, just giving background. He goes and has a fantastic career at Toledo. He's been a magnificent player for the Pittsburgh Steelers for like the last 6 seasons. 5 seasons. I'm close. Last 5 seasons. So if you don't know about Deontay Johnson, he's a talented kid right here from Hillsborough County, from a very new school at the time at Leonard. So now, coach, and go. You're on. Best Deontay Johnson story.
When I first got the job at Leonard, he wasn't even on the football team. And so me and one of the assistant principals, Mr. Buford, we were in the cafeteria one day because I spent all my time in the cafeteria trying to see who else is in the hallways and trying to get more kids out. So he knew about him already. So he brought Deontay up to me to meet me. And I guess Deontay thought they were still going to run the wing T at Leonard like they did previous before I got there. And he said, point blank, I'm not playing in that junk. And so I said, man, go ahead and walk on and you have a good day. And then about 5 days later, he comes up to me like, Coach, I want to play quarterback. I'm like, man, you're like 5'8", about 155 pounds. Like, you sure you want to do this? And so he turned his paperwork in, got all that stuff done, and then we were playing East Bay. I think it was either the Classic or the first game of the season back then, and it's 2012. And then my quarterback that was in the game was just having an awful night. So I walked up to Deontay and said, hey, man, can you do this, and this? I just gave him 5 things. He said, yeah, Coach, I got it. The first pass he threw, the kid dropped in the end zone. And then the second pass he threw, now we're on like the 25-yard line. So the second pass he threw, the same kid dropped in the end zone again. And Deontay come to me like, Coach, I'm never throwing him the ball again. I'm like, Deontay, if he's open, you got to throw it to him. And so the next play, he threw it to a different guy. He drops it. And then so forth and so on. So the first 5 plays of his career were 5 drops. And I told everybody it was the best 5 incomplete passes I've ever seen in my life. But the biggest story is, he was my quarterback that was his sophomore and junior year that he was my quarterback. And then he was not going to college as a quarterback. It just wasn't going to happen. So then, lo and behold, Devin Black walks into the door over the summer. Is Deontay's junior year going into his senior year of summer. And I said, all right, Deontay, this kid's supposed to be really good. I never met him before, didn't know him, didn't know anything about him. And then I said, what we're going to do, Deontay, we're going to let Devin play. We were playing St. Pete Catholic in the Classic. So I said, I'm going to let Devin start and then let you start a receiver, and then we'll see how it goes. So Devin was like, I think, 27 of 34 for 510 yards, something like that. And Deontay caught 5 touchdown passes. So I looked at my receivers coach and like, man, we may have something. So I walked up to Deontay that Saturday when we were watching film. I said, hey, man, I love you. It's your choice. I said, do you want to finish this thing out as a quarterback, or do you want to move to receiver and do what's best for the team and yourself and for your college career? He said, Coach, whatever you want me to do. I had no idea Deontay was going to go completely berserk and get 1,100 yards receiving and 19 touchdowns the senior year. But, it made me look like a genius, but it was all Deontay's choice because I wanted him to finish out his high school career the way he wanted to. But he said, if it makes us better, I'll go play receiver. Hey, now my man is paid.
Yep. And Jason Campbell said, hey, we're bringing him up. And
now, if we have time, the Jason Campbell story, I'll tell you the Jason Candle story.
Yep.
So Coach Campbell was the head coach at the time. Candle was the OC at the time.
Yep.
And so Candle come down here. Then him and Campbell flew down here. And then Jason came back. He said, Keith, I'm not leaving here until Deontay commits to us.
Yep.
Jason stayed the whole entire day at Leonard. And he and I are still friends to this day. I love that dude. He's a great guy.
Great dude. Love
him. And so absolutely. Some things happened, and Deontay had to finish up 2 courses. And like you said, Derek, he had to finally get that last couple points on the ACT. Yep. But we went to USF to meet Coach Taggart because they wanted him.
Yep.
But then as soon as they told me Deontay was going to gray shirt, I looked at Deontay and said, let's go, man. Yep. I said, we're not doing this. Yep. And Coach Taggart was like, what's going on? I said, no, this kid is not gray shirt. And I told him, he's better than anything you got right now on your roster.
Yeah.
And everybody thought I was crazy. But I'm going to stick up for my guy. I'm going to stick up for my guys. And like Preston said, I'm pretty vocal. So if I don't like something, I'm going to speak out about it.
Yep.
But like then I told Jason, like, man, I know it's at the end of the road, but he's yours. And he finally got up there, and then it was the best place for him. I'm glad he went there.
Yep.
Then a big school, even
Yep.
though Toledo's a good program, they win a lot of games, they do a lot of good things, they play on TV 5-6 times a year.
Yep.
I'm glad he went there.
Yep.
To where I know somebody was taking care of him like I would.
Yep.
And then the day he graduated, Coach Candle called me and said, "Hey man, we did it." I said, "No, man, that's your 4 years. You did that."
Yep. Good stuff. Yeah, Candle's a great guy. Great guy.
Well, Coach Chat, we appreciate you tapping in. Good luck to Spoto. Who you guys got next?
We got Alonzo Friday night.
That's going to be fun. They got a good quarterback over there, my man.
They do. We got a good one, too.
My man. Everybody, thank you for Coach Chattin.